Good afternoon. You're watching the daily service delivery gauge on SABC 1 as well as the SABC News channel. Thanks for joining us. I'm Criselda Lewis.
It's great to have you indeed. And welcome to the Monday edition of the daily service delivery gauge. I'm Olisi Masango, and signing for us today is Fortune Madala. Now, with just 13 days to the local government polls, the show brings you the latest in your election news. Now, remember, this is your show and we encourage you to interact with us on our social media platforms. Today we ask, are you from a village and what are your service delivery challenges? Now, this is the Monday edition of the service delivery gauge, and with that we say welcome. First up on the daily service delivery gauge today, service delivery at places such as Engonyeni village in the deep parts of KwaZulu-Natal province is at a snail's pace. Residents say they are dissatisfied with service delivery there. Specialist producer Sharon Zele and cameraman Tabiso Rapokwana recently visited the area and brought us these pictures.
Engonyeni is a rural residential area which lies on the border of eThekwini Municipality and Ilembe Municipality. For services, the area is administered by the eThekwini Metro. As the country prepares for the local government elections on the 1st of November, we recently visited the area and met with Induna Yasemakadini BJ Ngobo.
Okushuthi ngoba ama rates asiwakhokhi. Ngeke sithole i-development efana nabantu baka urban. Injalo. Kodwa ke motho uyabheka njengoba ngichaze ekuqaleni ukuthi uma kuqhamuka umngane wami eqhamuka eJohannesburg athi umasipala wakho ngithi ithek athi ukuthi akufani nale ndawo ukuthi umasipala kaDurban Metro. Kusho ukuthi ke intuthuko mhlambe yasithi mhlambe ihamba kancane. Omnye ngasho njalo.
Like in most rural areas, water is scarce here in Engonyeni. Residents say that water is brought to them by means of water tankers once a week. Lack of tarred roads also plays a part in the delivery of services, and residents complain that this makes it difficult for the water tankers to reach the entire village.
Ompompe ngisela ukuboma lo kaqale ngathapho kodwa ke ngamesibuka thini inkinga yonakala kwi-planning kwasekuqaleni ukuthi uqale ngokufakwa amanzi
ngokusike ngaphansi komkhandlu wethe kodwa manje buka sinjani nje kunjani ngisho imigaqo engele emakhaya emekuthiwa uyagula bathi uthwala umuntu umlethela emgaqweni asivulele emgwaqo weshiya ukuthi mhlambi yozibe netiye ukuvulwa nje ngiyezwa nje bekhuluma ukuthi bayifaka inkwali befaka leyo mgaqo le uma ungayibala ukuthi imgaqo leso uyifaka inkwali ungathola isimanga leyo mgaqo bonke labantu abakhelana bahamba kiwo lo mgaqo lo thebe inkwali.
All that the residents would like to see happen is development and services in the area.
Ke beze emakhaya ke bezobona inhlalakahle yabantu ngoba into esiyidingayo ukuthi sibone abantu behlala endaweni ethe ukuba sezingeni lokuthi abantu abaphile impilo engcono esiyidinga kubantu kuphela.
All right, in 2019, President Cyril Ramaphosa declared our Tambo district municipality as a flagship of a district development model that will coordinate infrastructure development, especially provision of water and sanitation in the rural areas. So an announcement of 11.5 billion rand for infrastructure development in the district was made. But years down the line, the OR Tambo district municipality's functioning capability collapsed due to allegations of fraud and corruption and misappropriation of funds. All right, so at some point there'd been 2 councils, 2 mayors and 2 municipal managers. Factionalism has also caused administration instability in that district. The SABC News team visited Lusikisiki, still there, a capital town of gender-based violence according to the latest crime statistics and the poorest part of the Eastern Cape. Let's go live now. Reporter Nkululeko Nyembezi and camera colleague Lwandile Mbulali join us now live from Lusikisiki as they look at the livelihood of the people there after billions of rand were announced, and it seems nothing has changed there. Nkululeko, very good afternoon to you. Thanks indeed for your time. So it seems like there were lots of promises that were made in Lusikisiki, and it seems that it's all turned out, that's all that it's basically turned out to be.
Thank you very much, Griselda, and you, Mkolisi, and the viewers at home. Really, this is shameful because, as you just alluded to, that the president of the country announced 11.5 billion rand to make sure that the people of Lusikisiki, the people of Flagstaff, people of the Tambo District Municipality do have an access to infrastructure, road infrastructure, water and sanitation. But up to date, what we have just experienced in the municipality is a high level of factionalism, a high level of fraud and corruption. And as we speak, we understand that the council had just sat and then dismissed the executive mayor in the council. So that shows that the municipality is really the great problem, if I may say that. But today we are here to Wombe village. These villagers here have been crying for help, crying for water, because water is a scarce resource in the rural areas of the Eastern Cape. Not only here in Lusikisiki, as you can see that these villagers are lining up to make sure that they get something to drink or to use for their livelihood, if I put that way. But it is very difficult. They are solely dependent on rain. If it doesn't rain, it's a problem for them. If you go to the deep rural areas also, you'll find that road infrastructure is a problem. This 11 billion rand was meant to make sure that at least some of the problems that are faced by these villagers are being addressed. But up to so far, it is really something that ought to be achieved, if I put that like that. But now I'm joined by umama apha. Mama, mhlawumbe ungakusicela igama lakho nesename yakho before siqhubeke.
Nothembile Lukumane.
Okay, Mama, unothembile apha niwasokola njani amanzi kona kunini mhlawumbe naqala kuba ngabi namanzi?
Saqala kudala pha ko-2001 sisokolela amanzi. Singabi nazo toti kude kube ngoku singanawo amanzi. Sitya amanzi amdaka, kulala inkomo nezinja ziyafela khonapho, yonke into namahagu agxobha apha emanzini. Asinawo amanzi apha kuWombe kwa-20.
Mhlawumbe ayeke afakwa amanzi kwamhlawumbe opipe ababonisa kuba mhlawumbe kuzoba khona amanzi apha ngaphambili.
Ayeke afakwa aphinda aphela amanzi. Aphela toti nangoku.
Xa mhlawumbe kufanele nilungiselele abantwana beziya esikolweni mhlawumbe naniselile ekusebusika ngekho amanzi, intoni mhlawumbe nenzayo nini?
Sikhakula amanzi amdaka, akekho amanzi, asinancedo sincedakala ngalo kwicala lamanzi.
So mhlawumbe ungathini mhlawumbe kuhulumeni kuba siyavuba uba zininzi imali ezakhushwayo kuthiwa nizawuncedisa oqinisekiseni uba abantu bazindawo bafumana amanzi?
Thina siyawafuna amanzi, siyawacela sincedwe ngamanzi ngoba amapayipi afakwa, iitephu zankwentulwa, samane siwacela amanzi ko-ward council babe besixelela uba kwamasipala kukhona izinto abangakwazi ukuzifumana.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mama was saying that this is really what they have been looking for, because they have been crying, but their cries are not being heard by the authorities. They have been urging the municipality to make sure that at least water is provided to them, water and sanitation, they receive that. But you will find that this story, this is the same story that you are receiving from all the villages around the eastern part of the Eastern Cape, whereby pipes have been installed, water have been stored, but it's not coming out. So they want government to make sure that at least it does something so that they can have water and sanitation and road infrastructure. Back to you, studio.
Nkululeko Nyembezi, thank you very much indeed. Certainly a focus on those rural municipalities and the challenges that they're experiencing. We'll also speak to a researcher here at the SABC just after the break. You need to stay tuned for that, just to understand exactly what these municipalities are going through. We'll take a short break here on the Daily Service Delivery Gauge. Mkolisi and I'll be back straight after this. Thank you very much for staying with us for the daily service delivery gauge. Let's take a look now at the service delivery challenges at rural municipalities, as well as the factors contributing to the cost of service delivery at those municipalities. SABC News researcher Emil Omro joins us now. Emil, great to have you once again on the program. What are some of those key challenges that these universities are facing?
Thanks, Griselda. It's good to be back. Well, if we look at some of the key issues that rural municipalities face, as we've heard from some of the people that we've interviewed, there's obviously a lack of access to basic service. And most commonly in these rural municipalities, we see a lack of housing. That's one of the big complaints, electricity, water and sanitation. Now, a lot of municipalities will argue, and an argument can be made, that the housing dilemma comes from national and provincial government. That's their mandate. However, the municipality still does play an integral role and is a stakeholder in the allocation of that housing and the delivery of services to those housings once they're up. When it comes to electricity, it's also, as much as it's a service delivery issue, it's also an issue of socio-economic development. Without electricity, we see a lot of, in these rural municipalities, there's a very low productivity among residents. And when it comes to jobs and manufacturing and things that residents can work with, there's obviously a lack of that, and that's one of the contributing factors. When it comes to water, while some residents in rural municipalities don't have water at all, in municipalities that do, there's also the question of the quality of the water that they're receiving. We still have residents receiving water from boreholes. And in the worst case scenario, from rivers and dams.
Exactly what they were saying in Lusikisiki, sharing the same water with animals and dogs that have even died in that water. Let's take a look at the next slide, Emil.
So let's look at some of the factors which impact the service delivery costs in these municipalities. Distance and population density obviously speak amongst themselves. In rural municipalities, we see households are more dispersed.
That's right.
And the terrain obviously makes it very difficult, of course, to access these households. So the costs, which in delivering the services, obviously expand exponentially. And then the availability of local service providers is the other big issue. Because obviously, when your local service providers are not skilled or have the resources to build that infrastructure or maintain it, you've got to pay an outside contractor who obviously charges tenfold more to come into the municipality and do this. So these are some of the issues which enable these service delivery issues in rural municipalities.
Thank you very much for that insight. Thanks indeed, SABC News researcher Emil Omro. Just looking at those pictures from Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape, a clear indication, of course, of some of the challenges that are experienced there. Some of the residents also indicating that they are having to share water with some of the animals there, dogs that have died. It's quite a dire situation. Let's take some of the calls now. I understand Anonymous is on the line from Limpopo, I understand. Sir or madam, very good afternoon to you. What is your comment this afternoon on the daily service delivery gauge?
Good afternoon, Griselda. Yes, hello?
Yes, good afternoon, sir. We can hear you loud and clear. What is your comment on the show today?
All right. It's Monty Zuma from Ward 6 in Pietermaritzburg, Msunduzi Municipality.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Go on.
Yes. Probably what I can say about my municipality, the Pietermaritzburg, the Msunduzi one, is that we are actually experiencing a problem in terms of service delivery. For example, if I can mention a few, the water supply, especially in my ward, which is Ward 6, it is terrible. It is bad. You know, we've never had water for many, many years. And unfortunately, I'm one of those people who were billed for I don't even know why I was billed. I'm sitting with a bill of plus minus 14,000 for water that has not been given to me for many, many years. I don't even know how many years. And then probably the other stuff that I'm going to probably mention here, we have the road that was meant to be built for many years ago. The contractors come and then they go. They come and they go. And now as the weather is raining in our area, you know, we're struggling. The old people cannot get home. the buses are unable to transport people properly in this. It's called D1126.
Mr. Mondli Zuma, we would love to stay with you. We really need to take another call as well to get what their concerns are. You're Mondli Zuma. We understand now Anonymous is on the line from Limpopo. Mxolisi?
Of course. Anonymous, it's great to have you on the program. What's your comment for us this afternoon?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Yes, Baba, it's great to have you on the program. What's your comment for us today?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm based in Limpopo, in a village called Darabari. Okay. The first issue that I want to raise, it's about the water. Yes, we do have water in a place like Rabari, Matiza, and also other surrounding villages. But honestly speaking, we can't give compliment to the municipality, because we had to contribute money to buy pipes, and also to hire people who must help us to connect those pipes in order for us to have water. And so, do you think that there is a reason to compliment the government for giving us the service? No, because we had to make our own effort. And number two is the issue of the police station. This is one thing which is really worries me, because we've got one police station which is covering so many villages. For example, from Mpepu police station, covering people who are staying at Museko, it's about 16 kilometers.
All right.
We've got people who are staying in Dimed, it's about 39 kilometers.
Okay.
So one police station covering so many villages, it doesn't make sense.
Rabali, we have to thank you so much for your call on the daily service delivery gauge today. And of course, as our viewers, we have to ask you to keep your calls maybe short and sweet, so we're able to get more callers on the program as well. At the back of that, remember, we did ask you to interact with us by sending us your messages via WhatsApp.
And of course, this is what some of you had to say today.
Service delivery ke challenge go mo South Africa as a whole, not mo gula wana fela. So se nna nga thabela go ba ba South Africa ba se jere go gore se o government re direla go sona re ska sinya re tlo go tshuma re golo ra tshuma re tsela ra tshuma jibetlele then ra boya go government ra ga e deliver service wa ile bana e deliver le nna re sinya se se go no hlokomela se government re direla go sona.
Good afternoon, listeners and SC broadcasting staff. I'm Reboni from Ramatlama 600 under Ward 3 local municipality, Mafikeng. We are having a common problem here, which is water, a national crisis, of course. And the problem is the upgrading of Apollo Light, because they are now off. You see, they are off. Thank you.
Hi, service delivery team. My name is William Ubisi, under Bushbuck Ridge Local Municipality. We have a water crisis here in this area, especially in Buisonto, where I come from. We normally get water like around 4 a.m. So if you want water, you have to wake up around 4 a.m. in order to get water. If you don't wake up around 4 a.m., you won't get water from 6 o'clock until late. And even the area called Anjinko, they are complaining about tar road there.
Thank you for those, as Papatangazo Zombini, because we always ask you to interact with us. At the back of that, we're touching base with some of your tweets today. Let's have a look, because we did ask you, do you live in a village or a rural area in South Africa? And what service delivery challenges do you have? Criselda, here's what our viewers had to say.
Teresha says in our area, Hebron, we have a problem with water. We only get water maybe once or twice in a week. It's a huge problem. In years to come, our next generation, I doubt they will have water. Great concern regarding water today.
Yeah, that's also at the back of that story you covered also this morning.
Indonesia. In fact, I got some comment from the city of Johannesburg. We'll talk about that a bit later.
Okay, Modisane says, good day. Yes, we have challenges in our municipality, which is called the Tsuang Municipality in the northwest. Sewer leakages, no water, high mass lights are not working, roads are not in good standard, and that's at Pelendaba section, Sannishof. The next one.
Princess Kumete says, yes, the delivery service is very, very poor. It's been 5 years. Like water, it's very challenging. Roads are not high standard. Sewage, hopefully in this coming elections, things will turn out differently. Princess Kumete, thanks for getting in touch with us on the program.
Numzana says in my area in Ward 6 under Intsiga Yetu municipality in Zomo, all we need is water. Taps are there, but they only open them when there's a funeral. The whole year, nothing. Must go to a river or you die in your house.
Water only for a funeral?
Imagine.
Okay, that's very hectic. I think it's almost one of those areas we need to visit. Makwaikwai says water and tarred roads is a struggle. Would depend on private homes, boreholes for water. As a teacher who has to travel every day to work, it's so difficult to forever replace broken car parts because the roads are not tarred. Even the gravel road we use is not maintained. Makwaikwai, thank you very much for that.
Sugude says, still sharing water with animals in my village. Shurana admin area in our local municipality. The nerve to visit us when it's only time to vote.
All right. Oof. That is Imusa.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to sort out as well.
Absolutely. All right. That's what we're going to have to leave it this afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Daily Service Delivery Gauge.
Yep, that brings us to the end of the Monday edition of the Daily Service Delivery Gauge. Thank you so much for watching and thank you for your participation. Till tomorrow, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.